Attorneys General in at least 4 states announced Thursday they will try to block President Trump's new travel ban in court. And they are pushing for the temporary restraining order that halted the original order to remain intact. Now, just to remind you of just how we got to this point, last month, a federal judge in Washington, James Robart, issued an order temporarily blocking the first version of the ban. Now, Robart's ruling was then upheld by a federal court in California, which led the president to issue a new order on Monday. On Thursday, Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson said there are still constitutional problems with the revised executive order.
The president does not get to decide if a new executive order is different enough to be clear from that underlying injunction. The court decides that, not the president. The court decides. So one way to think about this, if you maybe excuse the example a little bit, is it cannot be a game of whack-a-mole for the court.
Paula Reid joins me now from Washington. Paula, always good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
The Washington State Attorney General recognized that under the new travel ban, the list of barred countries has narrowed, but said it was still effectively a Muslim ban. Paula, what is their case this time around?
They're going to argue that even though there are only 6 countries now, each of those 6 countries is a predominantly Muslim nation. They will argue that taken together with the president's campaign statements about a Muslim ban, is enough to prove that this is actually discriminating based on religion and it's not about national security. Now, the administration has argued and will continue to defend its ban, saying that millions of Muslims are allowed into this country, even some from these specific nations, if they already have a valid visa, have been granted refugee status, or asylum here in the U.S.
All right, Paula, the new executive order spells out more of a national security rationale than the old one. Does this make the state's argument more challenging?
They are going to have a more difficult time because the way this was crafted answers a lot of the concerns that this judge previously had. For example, this judge previously argued that this is a blanket ban, that it wasn't crafted with nuance or national security in mind. But now this new executive order has exceptions for people who already have been granted visas, for refugees who already have travel scheduled here to the United States, same with asylum seekers, and it even has exceptions for case-by-case waivers for people depending on your circumstance. So you're no longer going to have that in your corner. Now, of course, these 6 nations are predominantly Muslim nations, but the government argues in the paperwork that they filed with this executive order that they chose those countries because they have unstable governments and do have a terrorist element. Now, DeMarco, I think the one place where the state really needs to hammer the government is on the statistics that the government put forth with this new executive order. Specifically, they said that there are 300 refugees currently the subject of terrorism investigations. But DeMarco, the Department of Justice, the government, no one has been able to tell us how many of those refugees were from these 6 affected countries. So that's a place where the state really has to put pressure on the government to reveal whether or not they have statistics to support this travel ban.
All right, so with that said, are we expecting any other states to follow suit and join these efforts?
Well, so far we've seen several states, Minnesota, Oregon, New York, Massachusetts. Wouldn't be surprising to see other liberal-leaning states join in this lawsuit because really the courts are one of the few areas of recourse that they have to combat the president's policies, with Republicans in control of the White House and Congress. Now, we saw a brand new lawsuit filed in Hawaii against this new travel ban. But the state attorney general in Washington is arguing we don't need a new lawsuit. You just need to re-up this one for the new travel ban.
All right, and a final question for you. At this point, can we expect this new travel order to survive legal review?
This one has a much stronger possibility of surviving judicial scrutiny. This was crafted when you had an attorney general, you had a Department of Homeland Security chief, you had a Secretary of State. It has a lot more nuance. It answers a lot of the questions that judges, not just this judge, but judges across the country raise. So, DeMarco, it seems that they really listened to those judges and designed this in a way that would survive legal scrutiny.
All right, Paula Reid in Washington. Paula, thank you.